sit yourself on your left and come into a good cross-leg position. So just have a little wriggle about, just make sure that you feel like you're sitting evenly. There's evenness underneath the seat bones. Just hold onto your knees and then elevate the chest upwards, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Just observe how freeing it becomes to elevate the chest. How freeing it becomes to draw the shoulders down away from the ears, how you can lengthen into the neck. Just look down at the floor, look at something that isn't moving. Keep your eyes still in the sockets and focus on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and long, slow, deep, deliberate exhalations. Keeping the jaw soft and your tongue soft and your throat soft. And then bring your hands into Namaste. Press the palms firmly together, lengthen from the armpits into the elbows, and then allow your eyes to gently close. Fill the lungs from the bottom to the top, emptying the lungs from the top to the bottom. Just spend a moment to gauge how you're feeling right now in terms of your energy, in terms of your emotional state, in terms of your physical state. And then, without dwelling on either of those more than the other, just draw your attention back to the breath. So sometimes it's useful to just acknowledge how we're feeling. Not to judge ourselves for it, just to observe and acknowledge. Because perhaps at the end of the session we'll feel different. The purpose of practicing yoga is to fill the body with positive energy, so that you have positive energy to put into your day. Positive physical energy, positive mental energy, positive intellectual energy. So consciously inhale deeply, drawing in the energy of the universe into the lungs, allowing the oxygen within each of those breaths to percolate through the lining of the lungs and into the blood. So when we practice our yoga, we consciously breathe more deeply, drawing in more of the energy of the universe into the body to draw in positivity. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in the heart area, and then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open. Just hold onto your knees and close your eyes for a moment. And just spend a moment just dwelling upon some of the things in life that bring you joy. It doesn't have to be big material things. It can be the simplest of things. The smell of fresh coffee. That sound of the rain when you're warm inside. Just drawing that feeling of abundance and positivity from just dwelling upon the positives. So let each of those positive things just sit in your heart for a short time and then move on to the next. If external thoughts seek to intrude, then just allow them to drift away. Just one by one, hold it in your mind's eye. Feel the abundance of energy in the heart area from that positive feeling. And then move to the next and to the next. Think of places where you feel safe, things that bring positive energy, items that you cherish, people and places that bring you joy. And then just bring your attention back into the physical body. And then open your eyes gently and elevate the heart area up to the ceiling. Take a deep inhalation, and then with an exhalation, just gently turn to the right side, observing how the sensations of the body change as you move. Observe those changes. Just spend a moment within the pose, just observing your physical response to the turn. Drawing the abdomen across the ribs and the shoulders, elevating the heart area upwards. Come back to the center, hold onto your knees. Lift up into the chest, take a deep inhalation in through the nose. And then turn to the left. Drawing your abdomen across your ribs and your shoulders, just listening to the breath. Feeling the physical reaction to the extended turn. And then come back to the center, just holding onto your knees, lifting the heart area upwards. We're just going to do a little bit of Brahmari. So remember, that is the extended exhalation on a humming sound, and you hum until you hum until the air is empty, the lungs are empty. That was hard to say. You hum until the lungs are empty. And then a normal inhalation, I'll just show you. So just a normal inhalation, a normal exhalation. A normal inhalation, you can keep your eyes open or closed. When the sound stops, the lungs are empty. And then a normal inhalation, and then several cycles. Try to engage with the resonance of the sound. Try to fill the chest with the resonance of the sound. Try and draw that resonance down into the tailbone, into the legs, into the arms, into the head. So a normal inhalation, a normal exhalation, and then we'll do maybe 5 or 6. Just one more. And a normal inhalation, retaining the resonance, that feeling of positive vibration within the chest and the neck and the throat and the head. And then just come up off your lift. Just come onto all fours. Have your hands as wide apart as your mat. Have your little fingers on the edge of the mat. Stretch your thumbs towards each other. Turn your toes under with bent knees initially. Come up into dog down. Just observe where that feeling of resonance remains. Fill the lungs deeply. Keep the knees bent initially so that you can really access the tailbone and the seat bone regions, lifting them up towards the ceiling, lifting the heart area towards the arms, and then begin to straighten the legs. So maintaining that sensation of resonance, focusing on drawing the breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Just let your head hang down, just breathing evenly. Just taking deep inhalations, deep exhalations. If I'm holding you too long in the pose, then rest. But if you can stay and maintain, then do. Keep your arms straight, keep your legs straight. Swing the hips forwards, come up into dog, up. Draw the crease of the elbows to face the front. Push the heels towards the wall behind you. Lengthen the chest forwards, broadening the diaphragm. Lifting the heart area up to the ceiling. Breathing. And then come back up into dog down. Feel how the diaphragm region feels more energized, drawing energy into the liver, drawing positive energy towards the organs. Step your feet forwards, just come up into a standing position. Come into half uttanasana if you're protecting your back, using blocks for your hands. So you come forwards with blocks under your hands, just coming forwards, extending into the chin and the chest, blocks under your hands. Otherwise, have your feet as wide apart as the mat. Do this for either half or full uttanasana. Stamp the big toes into the floor, stretch the little toes out to the side. Lift up into the chest. Lifting the heart area up to the ceiling, broadening the diaphragm region, gathering the shoulder blades together, your hands on your hips, gathering the shoulder blades together, squeezing the elbows towards each other, keeping the head lifted, come forwards, hinging at the hips, driving the chin and the chest forwards, keep coming down, keep driving forwards with the diaphragm region, with the heart area, keeping the head lifted and attentive, and then release your arms, hook the thumbs into the crease of the elbows, wrap your fingers around your elbows and hang down, but activate the legs. So if you're in half uttanasana, keep the legs really firm, lifted at the kneecaps, pressing the fronts of the knees through to the backs of the knees. So with both versions of uttanasana, we're activating the legs. With half uttanasana, extend the chin and the chest forwards. Keep the head lifted. In full uttanasana, let the top of the body hang down, but keep driving forwards with the heart area. Lift the shin bones out of the ankle sockets. Hit the shin bones back so that your weight goes into your heels. Turn the shins inwards. Tighten the kneecaps, press the kneecaps through to the backs of the knees. Lifting the thigh muscles up away from the kneecaps. Drawing the thigh muscles up into the hip socket. Breathing evenly and deeply stretching out the back, but keeping the front of the chest extended. Just breathing evenly, deeply listening to the sound of the breath. And then release your hands down to the floor. Just come up onto the fingertips. Just momentarily come into half uttanasana. Take a deep inhalation. Bring your hands into your hips. Bend your knees on the way up if you need to. And then come up into a standing position. Just come into Tadasana. Have the inner edge of the feet together, lifting the chest and the heart area up to the ceiling, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Just observe how your feet make contact with the floor. Turn the fronts of the shins inwards, tighten the kneecaps. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. Tuck the tailbone in. Lift the bladder region towards the abdomen up to the heart area up to the ceiling. Shoulders down, lengthening from the shoulders into the fingertips. Just breathing evenly. Deeply, bring your arms out nice and wide. Really spread the palms, spread the fingers. Bring your arms out nice and wide. Step or jump your feet apart nice and wide with your legs. Go a little wider than you might normally go. So really wide trikonasana. Turn your left toes in and your right leg and foot all the way out. Because we're wider, if you've got stiff hips, then you should definitely bring this front foot forward so it kind of comes beyond the toes of the back foot. So everyone just go a little bit wider. So a really wide dog down, too wide. So this makes gravity kind of collapse down to the floor. So then we have to really rely on the feet a little bit more. So press the feet into the floor and then suck the shins out of the feet. The shins up to the kneecaps up to the thighs up into the chest. Bring the chest to face the front. And then reach over. Find the shin. Look up, or look down, or look forwards, whatever's right for your neck. Just breathe evenly. So it's a really wide trikonasana. So it maybe challenges the legs in a new way. Maybe you can come down a little lower because you're wider, but not at the expense of dropping the chest. Just look down and look just in front of your foot. Turn the chest upwards, but keep the head looking down, and then just focus on the breath. Keep lifting out of the feet, into the legs, into the hips, into the chest, into the spine, into the head. Breathing evenly. Just feel where that resonance of Brahmari was. Fill that area with air, positive energy. And then come back to the centre, bend the knees if you need to, and then swap the feet around. Just release your hands, turn the right toes in, and the left leg and foot all the way out. So the temptation when you go really wide like this is to bring the hips to face this left leg. So bring the hips to face the front. Turn this leg from the inside out. Lift up into the chest, draw in the chest to face the front. Feel the feet on the floor. Press them into the floor consciously, and then lift out of the feet into the shins, into the kneecaps, into the thighs, into the hips, into the chest. And then reach over, find the shin. Look up initially, just to help clear out the sinuses. And then look down, just focus on the breath. Lifting out of the feet into the legs. Just observe how the pose feels different because you're wider. Spread the toes. Stretch the heels away from the toes. Lift from the shins into the kneecaps, into the hips, into the spine, into the neck. And then come back up to the centre, bend your knees if you need to come up. Bring the feet to face the front. And then step or jump your feet back together, come back into Tadasana. Just breathing evenly and deeply listen to the sound of the breath. Long, slow, deep, deliberate breaths. And then we're going to come into malasana. Now you might need to sit on a lift for this. So get the lift that you start off on and then just sit yourself down. You might additionally need a blanket for your heels, because in malasana, I'll show you, so I'll just quickly show you. So you're going to lift up into the chest, stretch your arms forwards, and then come forwards. Now some people find that the heels won't stay down on the floor. So if you're one of those people whose heels don't stay on the floor, then just get your blanket and just have it so that your heels you can put the lift on top so that your heels are just cushioned slightly by the blanket. So just use whatever you need to help you to find your pose. So it's good to start off high. If you struggle to lift off, then you can use a couple of blocks, and you can just use those to kind of push yourself up into that first stage. So you push yourself up and then release your arms forward. So just let me just move this out of the way. Just sitting on your lift, just stretch your legs out in front initially and lift up into the chest, pushing the heels away. Just take some deep inhalations, deep exhalations. Just really consciously observing the breath. So maybe observe how the body is feeling with the anticipation of malasana. And then bend your legs, bring the feet close to the body, either on the floor or on the lift, and then grip around your knees, lift up into your chest, driving the heart area up to the ceiling. Just take a deep inhalation, reach up and then come forwards, and then keep extending forwards and see if you can lift off, just hovering off the lift. Keep the chest lifted, keep the heart area lifted, keep the head lifted, smile. Listen to the breath. Shoulders down away from your ears. So can you draw your shoulders away from your ears? If your heels don't stay down, then have something for your heels, because otherwise you feel unbalanced. Keep coming forwards, lengthening forwards like you're doing a forward bend, drawing the lower ribs through the middle of the knees. Shoulders down. I always hunch my shoulders in this, so I've got to really consciously unhunch them. And then just very gently guide yourself back down, and then just come into swastikasana for a moment. Hold onto your knees. Just lift up, lift into the chest. Just observe how you energize the lumbar. Just observe the energy that you've created through the pose, that lightness of positive energy. And then we'll do that one more time. So bring your feet in. So things to watch out for this second time. So the thing that I'm really prone to doing, which maybe you're copying me, so I've got to really be careful not to do it, is this. So when you come up, it's the shoulders right up by your ears. You've got to lengthen your shoulders away from your ears, lifting the front chest upwards. So the more you let the chest drop, the more you'll hunch your shoulders. So you've got to let that heart area drive itself upwards and then drive forwards. And then if you can lift here, then you're less likely to kind of bring your shoulders up towards your ears. It's one of my kind of Achilles heels, if you like, in this pose. It's the shoulders. So you've got to really lift here in order to keep like this area down, like we do in Tadasana when we're lifting the chest and then lengthening the shoulders down towards the hands. So bring both feet together, so both feet in contact. Hold onto your knees and then lift the heart area upwards. If you notice, when you lift the heart area upwards, your shoulder blades draw in. So lift up and then reach up into the little fingers. And then come forwards, lifting from the heart area, and see if you can lift. Lifting the heart area, drawing the shoulders down away from your ears. Turn the tailbone in and then lengthen forwards, but keeping the heart area lifted. Shoulders away from your ears. I need to continually remind myself of that. Lifting the heart area, letting the Weight draw back into your heels, but lift in the heart area. Breathe in, smiling, bringing the chest through the knees. Okay, and then just gently guide yourself back down. Come into cross legs, but cross your legs the kind of unnatural way. Just hold onto your knees and lift up into your chest, driving the chest upwards, drawing the shoulders down away from your ears. Just listen to the breath. So feel the energy of the torso. And then try to incorporate some apanic breaths. So it's the breath from the perineum up towards the collarbone with the in-breath, and then from the collarbone down towards the perineum with the out-breath. So breathe in from the perineum to the collarbone with the in-breath, and downwards with the out-breath. Down all the way into the perineum. So we're going to do a little bit of Viloma pranayama. If you feel like you are going to struggle to do this sitting up, if your back is a little uncomfortable sitting in cross legs, then do this in supta baddha konasana. So have a bolster underneath your back, have the feet together and the knees apart. Come into supta baddha konasana. Otherwise, just stay in seated position. So I'll just quickly show you. So stay in seated if you're staying in seated. Otherwise, you're just going to have the bolster behind you, and then you're going to pull the feet towards you. Lift the heart area up as you come down, and then guide yourself down. If your head rolls back like this, then get your blanket and put that evenly underneath your head as a pillow. So if you're doing supta baddha konasana, just have those elements there. Otherwise, just hold onto your knees and draw the energy from the perineum to the collarbone and vice versa. You can close your eyes if you want. Just focus on the sensations of the breath, consciously aiming the breath into those polar ends of the spine. So if you recall, the first stage of Viloma pranayama is the interrupted in-breath. So it's as though you're walking up a ladder. Up a ladder from the perineum to the collarbone, but you stop on each step of the ladder. Just suspend the breath briefly. Without any tension, there should never be any tension. You just suspend the breath briefly, and then walk up to the next. Inhale, walk up to the next rung. So it's just little incremental inhalations, holding the breath in between, but just with just a gentle hold. It's a suspension rather than a hold. So just take a normal inhalation and a normal exhalation, and then in a moment we're going to interrupt the in-breath until the lungs are full. So if the breath is normally 10 seconds, then the breath will probably last about 20. So whenever you're ready. Just holding for a second or two. So the hold is just for a second or two, never over holding. Just allowing the body to absorb the energy of the breath with each suspension. Just normal exhalations, interrupted in breaths. You can do continuous cycles or intermittent. And just one more cycle, and then bringing the breath back to normal rhythm. And then just finishing with an exhalation, just a normal exhalation, and then normal inhalations, normal exhalations. Just bringing the breath back to a normal rhythm. And then just stretch your legs out. Just come down onto your back. And then just get your bolster and come into supta baddha konasana. Sometimes it can be nice to give yourself a little ramp in supta baddha konasana, so you can put a couple of blocks just underneath the bolster, so you're on this kind of elevation here, and then just come down into baddha konasana, supporting the hips if you need to, and then elevating the chest along the bolster. So when the bolster is elevated like this, there's less need for an additional pillow for your head. Just observe the breath. Just normal breathing, normal inhalations, normal exhalations. Just feeling how the abdomen opens, the rib cage opens, the chest opens. Just normal breath. Just feeling the hips opening by gravity, but support the thighs with blocks if it's too strong on your hips. Just feel the lifted openness of the front chest. And then push yourself up into a seated position. Just move your bolster and then have the bolster for underneath your knees. Have a well folded blanket underneath your head, and then just coming up into, going down even into sirvasana, just with the bolster underneath the knees, just to soften the back, and the blanket underneath your head. Just move equipment out of the way if it's in the way. Just make sure you're in a really good straight line down the centre of the mat. And then close your eyes, soften your jaw, soften your tongue and your throat. And then just listen to the breath. Just normal inhalations, normal exhalations. Let go of the physical body, letting go of the muscles of the arms and the legs so that the body becomes heavy on the floor. And then observe that lightness of positive energy that radiates out from the bones when you let go of the arms and the legs. energy into areas of the body that you feel need a little TLC. Observing the energy that radiates out from the bones into the organs, into the muscle, into the flesh, and into the skin. Using your in-breath and your out-breath to distribute that feeling of energetic lightness down into the tips of the toes, the tips of the fingers, and into the top of the head. Just basking in that feeling of energetic lightness. Spending a few moments just to dwell on some of the things that bring you joy, just expressing gratitude for each and every one. And when you're ready to disturb yourself, just gently wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, just bringing yourself back into this pose of Shavasana. Just bend your knees, keep your feet on the bolster, have the knees together, just resting into the floor. Just feeling how this position allows you to just press your back into the floor for support. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. Just a gentle massage on the spine. Just a gentle grounding massage, bringing your attention back into the body, back into the room. And then gently roll over onto your right side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. Just a final cross legs with your hands in the masti. A final spinal lift. Close your eyes, draw your breath in through your nose down into the abdomen. conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice. This morning, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions and the forward bends and the twists and the pranayama bring to the body and to the mind. Just acknowledging the contrast between now and then. Now in the beginning of the session. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy that you have created inside. And then radiate some of that positive energy out into the world. By sharing our positive energy comes back to us. And then releasing the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards, and as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel as though you really lifted your energy, giving yourself a real sense of buoyancy for the rest of your day. So thank you very much for joining me.